for my mother. So I really profoundly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for organizing this event. And thank you, Elsa, for taking on the role of editing the book. I know when you promise to do something, you really do it. And it's on time, it's on schedule, and it's as you articulated in your vision from the start. Thank you so much, Mirna, as to Teresa, our team, for supporting this endeavor. I was asked to share a few reflections, and it's in the book actually, some stories about the early years, the formative years of my mother. And she started with the women's movement. She founded the Cordillera Women's Education and Resource Center in our home province in the Philippines. And so the issue, the matter of Indigenous women has always been close to her heart. And throughout her career, this is something that she has always promoted. As Indigenous women, as I entered into the work of Indigenous people's rights advocacy, I started realizing exactly how hard our situation is as Indigenous women. Of course, as a child, I always complained because the movement took our mother away from us in a way. I was 7 years old when she started attending international meetings, and she was always on the move. When I started meeting her colleagues, they said, Vicky is an energizer bunny. Where does she get her energy? And it's true, she was always running around. She was always there fighting and advocating for the rights of Indigenous peoples. So as we grew older, we started to understand that although we couldn't see her too much, we understood that we were letting the movement borrow her from us for a greater purpose. Many people think that she was always pushing us to also be part of the movement. I have 3 brothers, so there are 4 of us siblings. I'm the eldest, and I'm the only one actually who followed in her path. And everyone had this misconception that, oh, it's because she's been talking to you about it, she wants you to follow in her footsteps and so forth, but she never did. And I think this is the power of Vicky. It's not through proselytizing, but it's through her work, the things that she does, that she inspires people. Even if she doesn't tell you directly, oh, you should do this, you should do that, because she's doing the work and because she's doing the advocacy, it inspires people to follow in her footsteps. So the book, in a way, I think it's like a cookbook. What are the ingredients that make Vicky? And you can see the rootedness in territory, in culture. You can see that she's been already a powerful advocate since she was in high school during the anti-dictatorship movement. And then, of course, she moved on to focusing exclusively on Indigenous peoples. Many people would not imagine that she's actually a nurse, professionally trained nurse, and licensed. And so she started with community health before she founded the Cordillera Women's Education and Resource Center. And just to say that what Mirna said earlier about her approach to the advocacy really resonates with me. Because she's the type of person who doesn't let personal biases get in the way. Sometimes I would listen to her and she would say, I can't stand this person because they had different views on things and everything, but she would still engage with the person. So it doesn't matter if it's a pharmaceutical company, if it's fellow Indigenous advocates, she always had this view that even if you don't like some of the views that this person or this entity stands for, you can always learn from them and you can always work with them to advance Indigenous people's rights. So these are the things that I hope that the book has successfully, the points that I hope the book has successfully put across. And even if there are some who have not yet met her, I'm hoping that the lessons from this book could continue to inspire a new generation of leaders. She was so passionate about training the next generation of Indigenous leaders. Maybe, do and she was so successful in in doing this. You know, there are very, very strong indigenous women rights advocates from the Cordillera, from our region. And there was one time I was in a meeting, and people were coming in for the prep meeting, as we usually have, no? And then there was this indigenous woman, Georgie Carino, her colleague. Then comes Joan Carlin, one of the younger colleagues. And then many other indigenous women leaders from the Cordillera. And somebody said, "Where are the men?" And we said, "Oh yeah, well, they're at home taking care of the children." And that was the role of my father, and this continues to be the role of my husband. And this is something that we've learned from Vicky: strong partnerships at home, in the advocacy, at work, and so forth. Those are parts of the ingredients that make a successful Indigenous rights advocate. So yes, I'm looking forward to going home, giving the book to my daughter, because one of the perks now of Vicky having slowed down a little bit is that she has more time. She has more time to sit with her grandchildren, and the grandchildren are so appreciative. You know, she has to undergo dialysis, and it's 4 hours in a chair undergoing the procedure. And you never have the opportunity to have Vicky like that before, but she was very active in the human rights and Indigenous rights advocacy space. So my daughter makes it a point, even if she has classes, she goes to her dialysis sessions to listen to the lessons. So even if we don't have that same opportunity, this book, I think, is also lessons by the dialysis machine, I would say. And let's see, maybe there can be a second volume for more stories. Thank you so much. I really feel the love. Thank you.